Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it is Monday. It's May 20th. This will be our chart lesson for the day. And real quickly, I'm going to take an extended vacation this weekend. I'm going to take off Thursday and Friday, so we'll only have chart lessons Monday through Wednesday this week. Something came up at the last minute, and I need to take Thursday off, and I'm just going to go ahead and take Friday off too. So. I'll be out Thursday and Friday, no mid-morning report either day, and no chart lesson on Thursday and Friday. Sorry for the short notice, but again, something popped up and I need to take those days off, and so I'm having to give you a short notice on that. But anyway, let's get to today's chart lesson. Here's the daily chart. Let's zoom in a little bit here. You can see that we made a little double top here and another kind of reversal type day. So will we turn down here? We'll just have to see what tomorrow brings. We could work sideways or even kind of continue to make little pushes up. So we could be setting up a reversal here. We do have the break and a new high in place. It did make a new high. Now we got a double top with another. So this could be construed as a lower high. So just watch this. We'll see what tomorrow brings and we'll go from there. But let's flip over to the 2,000 tick chart. It's basically a range day, but let's flip over there and we'll talk about that on the other chart. So here's a look at our 2,000 tick chart. You can see we had this real tight range early on, but we just shot right through that here, ran up. And notice how we made a measured move. We went a little bit further. We broke a little higher than that, but we pretty much turned back down and started a downtrend right here at a measured move. And we got two legs down. This second leg was a little bigger than a measured move, and then we had two legs up, and then we just kind of chopped around back inside the original range the rest of the day. Not a lot of trades today. This stuff up here is hard to trade. There's just not many setups up here. You got to be really careful in this choppy stuff where it just reverses and turns, and it's hard to trade. So just be real careful in this kind of choppy stuff that just constantly reversing from one direction to the next. And this is a really tight range, and you just didn't have room to really trade much here at all, to be honest. So anyway, there it is. Let's zoom in here and we'll go through the trades. Try to zoom in here a little closer. Sometimes I forget to zoom in. But you can see we're kind of chopping along in this range here, and we break out just barely, and then we push up one more time, and this actually breaks higher and fails and turns down, makes this big bearish bar. That's probably most likely going to be a failed breakout. You could actually trade this on the engulfing bar because that's a full bar, very bullish. I recommend that most of you wait till these bars close before you trade them, because you really need to know what you're doing here. But when it breaks one tick higher, it instantly turns on a big bullish bar like that, and you got all this room back to the EMA when it's been going sideways. There's a good chance you're going to at least get a scalp, and this thing may run all the way to the other side. And here it actually, early on, it looked like the range was probably just right in here, but okay, I'm sorry, I had a slight interruption there. Every time I try to get started on this, somebody taps at the door or the phone rings. But anyway, you could trade this on the engulfing. I don't recommend that you do that. We run down, it just pulls back, tests that breakout right there, and runs down an equal distance. And so I just moved the range down here to where the lows were, the overnight lows. And we rallied here, and it just takes off. This was a nice setup here. You've got your break, a couple of swings to a new low, overnight low. It bounces, gives you a nice signal bar, still a little ways from the EMA. Again, you'll probably get at least a scalp out of this, and maybe you'll get lucky and it runs like it does, and you might be able to ride this. This might be the only trade you need today if you get a runner on it. And it takes off. And it runs all the way up an equal distance. You can see it moved a perfect measured move there. and then you get your first break of this green channel, and then a second entry long again. Because it's so bearish, you could trade that on the engulfing bar, but again, I would wait and go long when this closes. There's still plenty of room to these highs up here. It comes back and gives you a higher low, but now you don't have so much room back to these highs. If you go all the way to the highs, you just barely have enough room there. You got 6 ticks, but really you got to watch these closes, and you only got a couple of ticks there, so it's just not really worth it. It would have worked if you took it. I don't like the trade, I'll be honest with you. I definitely, and again, you could trade it on the engulfing bar, but again, I would wait until it closes, and then if you entered here, you got enough room. I mean, maybe I'll make that green because there's some reasons to consider that one. And then, of course, you finally make a new high here. Unfortunately, you don't really get a setup to go short on it. It bounces, it comes back, and it gives you a lower high with a good signal bar here. That's something you might consider. But again, it doesn't break lower on this lower body, and again, you don't have a whole lot of room to the lows, so you're probably better off to sit tight. You see there's only like a point, 4 or 5 ticks there, and you can see you would have got trapped and it would have stopped you out. You don't want to go long on this breakout here. And even if you trade the engulfing bar, you don't have room to scalp out, so no entry there. This one was tempting, and this would have been a good trade, but you probably need to wait on a lower high. You do have your breakout here and a kind of reversal bar, and there is enough room back here. I do believe there's enough room back there. I didn't like it. Yeah, there's 2 points back to the midline. You want to think about that EMA, but it's not so important when you're working a sideways range. You're more worried about the midline and the lower spot. Again, that's another one you might take, but you're better off to wait on the lower high, and you never get one. You get one here, but then you don't have room, and then you're just in a little tight range. You did have a break in the new low here. I like this entry, but when it doesn't break above it, you got congestion there, and so that concerns me about that one. It could just break higher and turn back down again. So I didn't like that trade. And of course, we run up with this new channel. You get a breakout outside and another new high, and you're a good bit away from the breakout area, the EMA, everything. So again, you're better off since this makes a new high to wait on a lower high, but maybe you take that if you want to be aggressive. And it would have been a nice trade, but you can see you don't get a lower high here. Then you break out the low side here, and you do get a break of that channel in a new low, and you get a nice bullish bar, but you just don't have look how many times 1, 2, 3, 4 bars that tested that, and then this next one tests it too. It ends up pushing a little higher, and it would have worked before it turns down, but that's just it's too congested across there and too risky. You'd want to need more room back to the breakout area there. And no setup here to the short side. Break, new low, and it reverses. No setup to go long there. Break, and you get this channel. Break, new high, and again, no setup here. And unfortunately, you don't get a good signal bar here. I probably wouldn't take it because look how many times you bounce there. It's too risky to go short there. And this turns out to be another great move. And then you kind of work sideways here until you get another push lower. I didn't mark this one. You definitely can't go short there. And the only other one where you get a decent signal bar is here, but it closes outside what looks like most of the resistance, support and resistance there. So I didn't like that one either. You might take that one. That's another one you might argue this green, but I'm not crazy about it. And then you break lower here and come back. You move too far to call that a lower high, and it does close inside the range, so I don't think you want to go. And this turns out to be a really great move, but it's just not a great setup. We break out the low side, and here you get a higher low with still plenty of room back. I like that one. It's tempting. You could say, hey, maybe you go long here on the green one. but you're better off to wait on that higher low. And you get another bounce back inside, but it's just got too much stem there. It's too neutral of a bar. You get a higher low here, but it's not a very good bar, and it's not very high to the highs in the midline where you've been turning down. We do get a close outside here of this green channel and a couple legs up, and then notice we turn down right back inside there with a decent bar. Good bit of room back to the EMA in the midline. I like that one. I did mark it green because you'd probably be better off to get another test here, but you just don't get that. It just takes off. And of course you do get a break in new low, and this looks too congested, so you need a higher low, and it's just an inside bar there. And this is a channel working up. Now you get a break. The reason I marked this or pointed this arrow, somebody asked me about this short. They treated this like a lower high, but notice there's no room back to the last kind of swing down, and there's no room at all here. You're basically just going low, short into a double bottom there. And for to trade a lower high here, you would want this to be much higher with room back. This swing doesn't count as so much as this swing does over here, the last swing. You want to pay attention to this one, but this is all right into the EMA, and plus you don't have a retest of this high here. We turned down, and we got a double top bottom. This was more of the lower high than this was. This was the lower high from here. But you might say, okay, if this was a little higher and you had plenty of room down, you might trade that as a lower high, but that's just not a very good setup. But when you see that bar like that and it makes a 2-bar matching low, when this broke higher and turned back down, it should have at least pushed a tick or so through here. And when it doesn't, and you've already got another low right there too, the last swing, it just sets off a question mark of why can't we get through there? And when we get through there again, of course, it ticks one tick, traps everybody, runs their stops, and it goes exactly where you think it should go. It's just, you would expect a retest of the high here, so prices could try to go higher one more time, and they do, and they fail. And then, of course, that takes us into 230. So, yeah, that's just not a very good, that's not a sure thing for certain. I mean, yeah, prices could go lower there, but with that double bottom and 2-bar matching low, especially this late in the day with only minutes before it's after 2:30, be careful with trades like that. You want a sure thing, and that's just not a sure thing. Sure, it could work, but it's not a sure thing at all. And that was pretty much it. You know, once we got past about 9 o'clock this morning, there wasn't a whole lot happening until we had this failed break lower with the higher low. It's so far away from the EMA. That was a pretty good setup there, but just I mean, this is hard to trade really from 9 o'clock until noon. There's nothing. It's just too hard to trade that. And then you just get these 2 big legs down with no setups. And then we're just kind of chopping around again back in the original range. So this is not easy trading. Still low volume. This market, I mean, it's like people don't want to buy at this level, so obviously enough buying's coming in, and maybe people are still scared to sell, but when it starts selling off, the volume really comes in strong and hard. So I think the path of least resistance is down, although the market keeps slowly churning higher. So you just got to be real careful in this market. This is an odd market with all that's going on. I don't trust these big rallies like this on low volume because I think a lot of it's manipulated. It's election year, and they're not going to let I'm just telling you, the current administration is not going to let this market sell off if they can help it going into an election. That's just common. That's the way it is. It wouldn't matter if Republicans were in power or the Democrats. They're not going to let the market sell off if they can stop it. And so just be careful. But you can see when any volume starts coming in, it's mostly to the downside. So, I mean, they took that rally back in a very short period of time. So, but there it is. Not much else we can say about today. It's just kind of a low volume, weak sideways kind of day. I mean, we had a rally up and a rally down, and we just didn't have any setups on the way down. We had a couple on the way up, not much on the way down. So anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. We'll be back again to do it tomorrow. Again, just a reminder, it's going to be a short week. I'll be out Thursday and Friday. I'm going to take a long weekend, and I'll be back the following. Actually, I think Monday's Memorial Day. That's the reason I'm going to take an extra day off. I'm going to take a little trip here. So I'll be back Tuesday. So it's going to be a long stretch there. Really, we're just missing two chart lessons on YouTube, but we'll miss a few mid-morning charts. Monday's going to be a holiday, so nobody will be trading Monday anyway. But anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. We'll be back again to do it tomorrow. Maybe we'll get some movement tomorrow. But I'm done for today. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.